go buy some albums and listen to the albums. It's all there. If you piece it together and really listen to the music for the words, for what it is, it's all there.
Hip-hop was built on borrowing sounds, but some producers went to the darkest, loudest places for their beats. They didn't just sample funk and soul. They took pieces from the world of heavy metal. Believe it or not, a song that defined political rap actually stole its power from the most controversial thrash metal band of all time. 1. Public Enemy. She Watched Channel Zero?
It's called Do the Right Thing, and its theme song, appropriately enough, is performed by Public Enemy. The song is called Fight the Power, and it fits right in with the film's provocative view of racial animosity in New York City.
Many people know Public Enemy as one of the most important groups in music history. Their songs were loud, smart, and full of powerful messages. When you listen to their 1988 album, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back, one track hits you like a ton of bricks. She Watched Channel Zero? The beat is pure chaos. It's fast, aggressive, and has this screeching guitar riff that sounds like a siren. It feels like the sound of a revolution, perfectly matching Chuck D's powerful voice. It sounds like something their production team, the Bomb Squad, cooked up from scratch. But what many overlooked is where that insane energy came from. The Bomb Squad were masters of digging for sounds nobody else would touch. For this track, they reached into the world of thrash metal, a super fast and heavy type of rock music. They took the main guitar riff from a song called Angel of Death by a band named Slayer. To put it mildly, Slayer was one of the most intense and controversial metal bands on the planet. Their music was so fast, it was like a jet engine, with guitar solos that sounded like they were screaming. They were the last band anyone would expect to hear on a hip-hop record. The producers took that terrifying riff, sped it up even more, and turned it into the backbone of a hip-hop masterpiece. It's an incredible mashup of two totally different worlds. But if you think taking from the kings of thrash metal is wild, wait until you hear how another legendary rap crew went even darker, borrowing a sound from the godfathers of heavy metal itself. 2. Beastie Boys, Rhymin' and Stealin'.
Now something for the kids. Our next guest will be performing a song from their third album. Here they are, the Beastie Boys.
The Beastie Boys started out as a punk rock band before they became hip-hop superstars. So it's no surprise they loved loud guitars. Their first full rap album, Licensed to Ill from 1986, kicks off with a track that sounds like a pirate anthem for a wild party. The song is Rhymin' and Stealin', and it opens with one of the most gigantic drum beats in music history. The drums are so heavy they sound like they were recorded in a giant cave. For years, people just assumed it was a beat the Beastie Boys made. The truth is, that legendary beat was lifted directly from another song. The producers, including the famous Rick Rubin, took the opening drum solo from When the Levee Breaks by the English rock band Led Zeppelin. Those drums, played by John Bonham, are famous among musicians for having a huge, booming sound. They were recorded at the bottom of a 3-story staircase to give them a natural echo, a sound that was almost impossible to copy. But that's not the only piece they stole for the song. The main guitar riff that comes in, the part that makes you want to stomp your feet, is also a sample. It was taken from Sweet Leaf, a song by Black Sabbath, the band that many people say invented heavy metal. The original song was famously about the lead singer's love for certain kinds of plants. So, the Beastie Boys and Rick Rubin basically created a Frankenstein's monster of a beat, taking the drums from one rock god and the guitar from another to create a hip-hop classic. Building a song from two of the biggest rock bands ever is a bold move. But our next artist took a guitar riff from a band known for being even more loud and wild and turned it into a call to arms for every party in America. 3. LL Cool J, Rock the Bells.
incorporate different generations and do a video for Rock the Bells, a never-made video. So we did it, and it ended up winning at Tribeca. And
back in 1985, a young rapper from Queens, New York, named LL Cool J dropped his first album, Radio. This album was a game changer. It was raw, stripped down, and aggressive. One of the standout tracks was Rock the Bells, a song that became an anthem for early hip-hop fans. The beat is hard-hitting, with a simple but powerful guitar riff that repeats over and over. It sounds like pure, raw energy, the kind of sound that makes you want to crank up the volume on a boombox. For a long time, fans thought that catchy guitar part was just a simple melody created for the song. You see, not many people were listening to both hip-hop and hard rock back then, so the secret ingredient went unnoticed. That killer riff was actually taken from a song called Flick of the Switch by the Australian rock band AC/DC. AC/DC is famous for their super loud, simple, and powerful rock and roll. They've sold over 200 million records worldwide, enough to give a copy to every single person in Germany, France, and the United Kingdom combined. The rapper and his producer Rick Rubin took a small piece of the AC/DC song, looped it, and built a whole new track around it. It was a perfect match for LL Cool J's confident and booming voice. It showed that the energy of rock and the energy of hip-hop could come together to create something totally new. LL Cool J used rock to make a party track, but years later, one of the biggest rappers of all time would use a rock sample to tell a very different kind of story, one that became a modern classic. 4. Jay-Z, 99 Problems.
Everything that I said was going to happen, happened. Everything that I said I wanted to do, I've done. And there's the blueprint. The blueprint.
Fast forward to 2003. Jay-Z is already a global superstar, one of the kings of hip-hop. He releases what he claims will be his final record, the Black Album. One of the most popular songs on that album is 99 Problems. The track is famous for its storytelling, especially the second verse where Jay-Z tells a story about getting pulled over by a police officer. The beat is just as tough as the lyrics. It's gritty, heavy, and has a raw rock and roll feel to it, complete with a powerful guitar lick and a screaming vocal sample. The mastermind behind the beat was again producer Rick Rubin, the same guy who worked with LL Cool J and the Beastie Boys. He clearly has a love for mixing rap and rock. This time, he dug up a few different rock songs to create the beat. The main drum beat comes from a 1970 song called Long Red by a hard rock band named Mountain. They were an American band famous for playing at the legendary Woodstock Festival. But there's more. The crunchy guitar riff was taken from a song called The Big Beat by a rocker named Billy Squier. To top it all off, the high-pitched scream you hear in the background is from a rapper named Ice-T from his song 99 Problems, which inspired Jay-Z's version. It was a mix of different eras and styles, all blended together to create a modern masterpiece that felt both new and classic at the same time. Jay-Z used a rock sample to make a statement, but our next group used a sample from one of the first heavy metal bands ever to paint a picture of life on the streets. 5. Gang Starr, Just to Get a Rep.
Brothers are amused by other brothers' reps, but the thing you know best is where the gun is kept. Cause in the night you feel fright, and at the sight of a 4/5, I guess you just might.
Gang Starr was a duo known for being one of the smartest and smoothest groups in hip-hop. The rapper, Guru, had a one-of-a-kind calm voice, and the producer, DJ Premier, was a genius at finding unique sounds to sample. On their 1991 album, Step in the Arena, the song Just to Get a Rep tells a grim story about the dangers of street life. The beat has a feeling of danger and suspense. It's driven by a deep, fuzzy bass line that sounds like it's growling. That sound is so unique that it feels like it must have been created in the studio. But the thing nobody tells you is that DJ Premier found that sound on a record from all the way back in 1968. He sampled the main riff from a cover of the song Summertime Blues, performed by a band called Blue Cheer. Blue Cheer is a name that many music experts know well. They are often called one of the very first heavy metal bands, even before Black Sabbath. They were from San Francisco and were known for being incredibly loud. In fact, they were once listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the loudest band in the world. DJ Premier took their fuzzy, distorted sound, slowed it down, and gave it a hip-hop bounce, creating the perfect dark mood for Guru's story. It's amazing how a sound from the 60s could be reborn in the 90s. Our next artist also looked to the past, taking a song about war and turning it into an anthem about his own life story. 6. Ice-T, OG, Original Gangster.
That's great, but do people really know where hip-hop comes from, or do they know where the music comes from? And rap has been around long enough now that
Ice-T is known as one of the founding fathers of gangster rap. His music told stories about the hard realities of life in Los Angeles. In 1991, he released his fourth album, titled OG Original Gangster. The title track is a 7-minute-long epic where Ice-T tells his life story and stakes his claim as a true original. The music behind him is dark and menacing. It has a slow, heavy beat and a spooky sound that perfectly fits the tough subject matter. That spooky sound comes from a very familiar place for heavy metal fans. The beat is built around a sample from the beginning of the song, War Pigs by Black Sabbath. War Pigs is one of the most famous anti-war songs in rock history. It's from their 1970 album, Paranoid, which is considered one of the most important heavy metal albums of all time. The song starts with a slow, grinding guitar riff and an air raid siren, creating a feeling of doom. Ice-T's producers took that feeling and repurposed it. They looped the dark guitar part to create a mood of inner-city warfare. It was a clever way to connect the theme of actual war with the street battles Ice-T was rapping about, showing how sounds can take on a whole new meaning in a different story. Using a song about war to tell a street story is powerful. But our next artist took a much more upbeat rock song and turned it into a track with a very different kind of siren, the kind that makes you think of the police. 7. KRS-One, Sound of the Police.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police.
KRS-One is a legend in hip-hop, known as the Teacher, Bush because of his intelligent and socially conscious lyrics. In 1993, he released one of his most famous songs, Sound of the Police. The song is a powerful critique of police brutality and injustice. The most memorable part of the track is the catchy whoop whoop, that's the sound of da police chant. The beat itself is funky and has a driving energy built around a very distinct guitar and horn sample. That powerful funky loop wasn't from a typical soul or funk record that most producers were using at the time. It was actually lifted from a hard rock band. The sample is from the beginning of the song Inside Looking Out by the American rock band Grand Funk Railroad. The song is from their live 1969 album. Grand Funk Railroad was a huge deal in the early 70s. They were a power trio known for their bluesy heavy rock and sold-out stadiums across America, including Shea Stadium in New York, selling out faster than the Beatles did. KRS-One's producer took the high-energy opening of their live performance, a raw and powerful moment, and turned it into the foundation for a hip-hop protest anthem. Using a live rock concert's energy for a protest song is genius. Our next artist also used a rock sample, but he used it to create one of the biggest and most fun party hits of the 80s. 8. Tone Loc, Wild Thing.
Working all week, 9 to 5 for my money. So when the weekend comes, I go get live with the honey.
If you were around in 1989, you could not escape the song Wild Thing by Tone Loc. It was everywhere, on the radio, on TV, and at every party. The song is fun, goofy, and has an incredibly catchy guitar riff that drives the whole track. Tone Loc's deep, lazy voice was perfect for the simple, fun lyrics. The song became a massive hit, one of the first rap songs to go multi-platinum, selling millions of copies. Everyone knew the song, but very few people knew where that iconic guitar part came from. That riff, which sounds like the ultimate party starter, was sampled from a song called Jamie's Cryin' by the legendary rock band Van Halen. Van Halen was one of the biggest bands in the world, thanks to their larger-than-life singer, David Lee Roth, and their guitar player, Eddie Van Halen, who completely changed the way people played the electric guitar. His flashy style and incredible speed made him a guitar god. The producers of Wild Thing took a small, funky guitar part from the Van Halen song, looped it, and built a pop rap masterpiece around it. The funny thing is, they never got official permission to use the sample. The band's record label later took legal action, and the case was settled out of court for a large sum of money. That sneaky sample led to a huge hit. But sometimes, producers don't take the main riff. They take a tiny piece you would never notice, like the drums from one of rock's most famous songs. 9. EPMD, I'm Housen.
My jock like a snake, always listen. Grabbing and tackling me at Luther Vandross. Take me to the bar, get a drink and make a toast.
EPMD, a duo from Long Island, New York, was known for their laid-back flows and funky, hard-hitting beats. Their style was cool, confident, and always sounded fresh. A great example is their 1988 track, I'm Housen, where they rap about taking over the microphone at a party. The beat has a tough, head-nodding groove. It's simple, but incredibly effective. The focus is on the drums, which have a distinctive, powerful sound. What many overlooked is that those drums have a very famous history, but not in hip-hop. The drum beat is a loop of the first few seconds of Walk This Way by the rock band Aerosmith. Now, most people know the version of Walk This Way that Aerosmith did with Run DMC, a song that famously broke down the walls between rock and rap. But EPMD didn't sample the famous guitar riff or the chorus. They went for something much more subtle. They took only the drum intro, played by drummer Joey Kramer, before the guitars even start. They chopped it up and turned that simple rock beat into a raw hip-hop track. It was a clever move, taking a piece of one of the most famous rock songs ever and using it in a way that was almost unrecognizable. Using just the drums from a huge rock hit is clever. But what about using the most recognizable drum beat in the world, a beat that has been used in sports stadiums for decades? Our next artist did just that. 10. Ice Cube, When Will They Shoot?
Tell me now, the whole thing with NWA, was it, again, politics that made you leave the group?
Politics.
After leaving the groundbreaking group NWA, Ice Cube started a solo career that was just as powerful and controversial. His music was angry, political, and unflinching. On his 1992 album, The Predator, he had a song called When Will They Shoot? The track is a fiery look at the struggles and anger felt by many in the black community. The beat needed to be just as powerful as his words. It needed to sound like a war march. To get that feeling, the producers turned to one of the most famous bands in the world, Queen. They took the iconic stomp, stomp, clap drum pattern from Queen's 1977 mega hit, We Will Rock You. That beat is probably the most recognizable rhythm on the planet. You hear it at every football, basketball, and hockey game. It's a sound designed to get a giant crowd hyped up. By using that beat, Ice Cube and his producers were turning a stadium rock anthem into a backdrop for a powerful political statement. It was a brilliant flip, taking a sound of unity from one culture and giving it a completely new and much more confrontational meaning in another. Taking a stadium anthem and giving it a new meaning is bold, but taking a riff from the world's biggest heavy metal band and using it on a hip-hop track? That's next level, and that's what a member of Public Enemy's crew did next. 11. Professor Griff and the Last Asiatic Disciples, The Verdict.
A little bit right here. Here's original black man on and up rise, convicted and halfway hung before sunrise. Order in the court, all rises, hanging time, there's freedom of speech, so I'm expressing this with a rock.
Professor Griff was known as the Minister of Information for the group Public Enemy. He was a key part of their powerful stage show and message. In 1990, he released a solo album with his own group, and on it was a track called The Verdict. The song is intense, with Griff delivering his rhymes in a militant style. The music behind him is equally dark and aggressive, with a clean, sharp guitar riff that sounds like it's stalking you. That cold, chilling guitar part came from an unexpected source, the biggest heavy metal band in the world, Metallica. The sample is from their 1986 song, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, a track from their album Master of Puppets, which is often called one of the greatest metal albums ever made. The song is about someone being trapped in a mental institution, and it has a clean, spooky guitar intro that builds into a heavy, powerful riff. Griff's producers took that clean, spooky part and looped it, creating a perfect bed of tension for the song's serious message. It was a deep cut from a band that most hip-hop fans would have never listened to, showing just how far producers would go to find the perfect sound. Digging for a Metallica gem is one thing, but our next group of hip-hop pioneers found their sound in the work of another group of British rock royalty, a band famous for their long, epic songs. 12. A Tribe Called Quest, We Can Get Down.
Just want people to say that Tribe Called Quest was no fluke. We just made good music, you know.
A Tribe Called Quest is beloved for their positive, jazzy, and intelligent brand of hip-hop. Their music often felt smooth and relaxed, a contrast to the more aggressive rap of the time. But on their classic 1993 album, Midnight Marauders, they showed they could still bring the energy. On the song We Can Get Down, the beat is more upbeat and has a driving, funky rock feel to it, something a little different from their usual style. The secret to that energy lies in a sample from a band that was anything but jazzy. The main musical loop is from a 1968 song called Ring That Neck by the British hard rock band Deep Purple. Deep Purple is one of the pioneers of hard rock and heavy metal. They are famous for their loud organs, powerful guitars, and epic songs like the classic Smoke on the Water. Ring That Neck is an instrumental track that showcases their amazing musical talent. Q-Tip, Tribe's producer, took a piece of this wild instrumental, filtered it, and gave it a hip-hop swing, turning a piece of progressive hard rock into a feel-good Tribe beat. It was proof that even the most far-out rock music could have a soul that hip-hop could connect with. Tribe looked to British rock legends, but our next group of rappers looked closer to home, to a legendary punk rock band from their own city of New York. 13. Leaders of the New School, Case of the PTA.
I wrote notes to quote some Shakespeare and other types of rhymes to show you that I care for things like together forever till you're my only one. Only one.
Leaders of the New School were a high-energy rap group from the early 90s, most famous for launching the career of the superstar Busta Rhymes. Their style was playful, chaotic, and loud. Their 1991 debut single, Case of the PTA, tells a funny story about getting in trouble at school. The beat is frantic and fun, perfectly matching their wild energy. It has a chanting vocal sample that gets you hyped up from the very first second. That "Hey Ho, Let's Go" chant is one of the most famous intros in rock history. It was lifted directly from the 1976 punk rock anthem Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. The Ramones were four guys from Queens, New York, who stripped rock and roll down to its basics. 3 chords played as fast as possible. They weren't fancy musicians, but their energy and simple, catchy songs inspired thousands of bands. Leaders of the New School, also from New York, took that raw punk energy and injected it directly into their hip-hop. It was a perfect fit, a bridge between two worlds of rebellious New York City music. Punk and hip-hop are both about rebellion. So is the music of our next artist, a true guitar hero whose fiery music was sampled by a rapper known for his conscious and thoughtful rhymes. 14. Common, The Bitch in You.
Common sense, right now I'm like the sinner. Mix me up, y'all, you could put me in the blender. Understand the style, this is the style I make.
In the mid-90s, hip-hop was in the middle of a rivalry between the East Coast and the West Coast. Rappers from both sides were releasing diss tracks, songs aimed at insulting their rivals. The Chicago rapper Common, who was known for his positive and poetic style, got pulled into the conflict. He released a track called The Bitch in You, which was aimed at West Coast rapper Ice Cube and his group. The song is famous for being incredibly sharp and clever, and the beat is just as aggressive, driven by a distorted, heavy guitar riff. That tough guitar sound came from one of the greatest guitar players of all time, Jimi Hendrix. The sample is from the song Little Miss Lover by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, from their 1967 album, Axis, Bold as Love. Jimi Hendrix revolutionized the electric guitar. He could make it scream, cry, and sing in ways no one had ever heard before. His music was a wild mix of blues, rock, and soul. The producer Pete Rock took a heavy, funky riff from the Hendrix track and looped it to give Common the perfect aggressive sound to back up his powerful lyrics. It was a deep cut that only true music fans would recognize. Common wasn't the only one who found inspiration in Jimi Hendrix. A quirky West Coast group also used his magical guitar skills for one of their signature tracks. 15. The Pharcyde, Ya Mama.
Your mom is so fat. Your mama is so big in fact that she can get busy with 22 burritos when times are rough.
The Pharcyde was a rap group from Los Angeles that stood out from the gangster rap scene that was popular in the early 90s. They were funny, weird, and didn't take themselves too seriously. Their 1992 debut album, Bizarre Ride 2, The Pharcyde, is a classic of alternative hip-hop. One of the funniest tracks on the album is Ya Mama, a song made up entirely of silly jokes. The beat is just as goofy and playful as the lyrics, with a bouncy, almost cartoonish feel. But the main musical element of that beat is anything but silly. It's a sample of the legendary Jimi Hendrix once again. This time, the sample is from the iconic opening of his song, Voodoo Child, Slight Return. That wah-wah guitar sound is one of the most famous in rock music. It's a sound that is cool, mysterious, and full of attitude. The Pharcyde's producer, Jay Swift, took that classic rock sound and completely flipped it. He turned a piece of a serious, epic guitar masterpiece into the backbone for a hilarious song full of jokes. It shows how hip-hop producers can take any sound, no matter where it comes from, and give it a brand new personality. From jokes to something much more serious, our next group also took a rock sample, but they used it to create a sound that was dark, smoky, and totally their own. 16. Cypress Hill, I Ain't Going Out Like That.
We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that. We ain't going out like that.
Cypress Hill carved out their own lane in hip-hop. With their unique, nasal-voiced rapper Be Real and their producer DJ Muggs, they created a sound that was both funky and spooky. Their music was heavily influenced by their Latino heritage and their love for smoking certain plants. On their 1993 album Black Sunday, the track I Ain't Going Out Like That is a perfect example of their sound. It's a song about defiance, about refusing to give up. The beat is menacing, with a high-pitched squeal and a heavy, grinding riff. That heavy riff came from a band we've met before on this list, the inventors of heavy metal, Black Sabbath. DJ Muggs sampled their 1970 song, The Wizard. The song is from their very first album and features a powerful harmonica and guitar riff. Muggs took that riff, filtered it, and looped it into something that sounded like a warning siren. It gave the song a paranoid and aggressive edge that became a signature part of Cypress Hill's sound. They loved Black Sabbath so much, they even named their album Black Sunday as a tribute to the band. Cypress Hill used a sample to sound tough. Our next artist used a rock sample to get people on the dance floor for a song that was all about having a good time. 17. Coolio, 1, 2, 3, 4, Somepin' New. After the massive worldwide success of his song Gangsta's Paradise, the rapper Coolio needed another hit. In 1996, he came back with 1, 2, 3, 4, Somepin' New. The song was a complete change of pace. It wasn't serious or dark. It was a fun, upbeat party track designed for dancing. The song has a super catchy chorus and a beat with a funky, sliding guitar sound that was impossible not to move to. It became another huge hit for him, proving he could do more than just one style. The musical hook for the song came from an unlikely place. It was a sample from the 1981 rock anthem The Stroke by Billy Squier. The Stroke is a classic rock radio staple, known for its powerful drums and a sleazy, stomping riff. Billy Squier was a big star in the early 80s, with his videos all over MTV. The producers for Coolio's track took that rock swagger and toned it down a bit, making it smoother and funkier. They turned a hard rock anthem into a G-Funk party jam. Most people dancing to the Coolio song had no idea they were grooving to a classic rock riff. From the dance floor to the streets of New York, our next track comes from a group that took a piece of one of the biggest rock bands ever and hit it deep in their beat. 18. Third Bass, Steppin' to the AM.
Ready in the intro, cue up the searchlight, promise to the center stage. I grab the first mic, projecting the voice with this mic that I'm cuffing.
Third Bass was a hip-hop group from New York City that made a name for themselves in the late 80s and early 90s. They were known for their clever lyrics and their solid sample-heavy beats. On their 1989 debut album, the Cactus Album, the song Steppin' to the AM is a classic piece of golden age hip-hop. It has a smooth, confident vibe and a beat that feels complex with lots of different layers and sounds woven together. Buried in that complex beat is a sample from a band that is almost like musical royalty, Led Zeppelin. Producers MC Serch and Sam Seaver took a small piece from the song The Ocean from Zeppelin's 1973 album Houses of the Holy. They didn't take a big, obvious guitar riff. Instead, they sampled a vocal part from the song's intro. It's the moment where the drummer, John Bonham, counts off the beat, and the singer, Robert Plant, sings a little melody. Third Bass took that small, funky moment, which most rock fans don't even notice, and made it a key part of their hip-hop beat. It was a sign of a true record digger, finding a diamond in the rough. Hiding a Led Zeppelin sample is impressive, but our next artist took a guitar riff that is arguably the most famous in history and put it right out in the open for everyone to hear. 19. Busta Rhymes, Tear the Roof Off.
My next guest's new album features such stars as Ozzy Osbourne and Janet Jackson. Please welcome rap superstar Busta Rhymes.
By 1998, Busta Rhymes was already a superstar known for his wild, energetic, and futuristic style. He was always pushing boundaries with his music and his videos. On his album ELE, Extinction Level Event, he had a song called Tear the Roof Off. The title tells you everything you need to know. It's a high-energy track designed to make crowds go absolutely wild. The beat is huge, loud, and built around a guitar riff that every single person on Earth has heard. There was no hiding this sample. The song is built entirely on the main riff from Smoke on the Water by Deep Purple. That riff is often the very first thing anyone learns to play on a guitar. It's a rock and roll building block, but instead of just looping it, Busta's producers replayed the riff with even heavier, more modern-sounding guitars. Then they put a booming hip-hop drum beat under it. Busta then unleashes his signature high-speed rapping over the top. It was a collision of a classic rock anthem and futuristic hip-hop energy, and it sounded absolutely massive.